Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, I want to be sure and wish all of you, since today is Christmas, a Merry Christmas, and I hope you're all having a happy holiday season right now. And if you've been looking at our website in between the activities with Santa Claus and everyone else in your family, you may have noticed that the title of tonight's show is Set for Life. And the reason why we can be thinking long-term about getting set for life is because last Monday we had a fabulous new moon in Capricorn. And Capricorn rules time, and it does rule old age and pensions and retirement plans. And it is the traditional ruler of the 10th house of career and your reputation in the public eye. And so this is a time when we can all have our minds on work and career and our reputations. And that is good because there were 5 planets in Capricorn. And that is wonderful. The sun and the moon were exactly at 0 degrees. And so they've got a long way to go through the sign. And Mercury was in Capricorn, Venus was in Capricorn, and Pluto was in Capricorn too. In fact, Venus and Pluto are very close together now. They are conjuncting, which can sometimes indicate the early death or loss of a loved one, but it could be just the loss from retiring in the workplace, or from graduating from college, or perhaps neighbors moving on, something like that. Or it can simply be that the truth really does become known right now, particularly regarding a legal matter, since Venus does conjunct Pluto. Pluto rules management in large corporations or government agencies, and it rules the absolute truth about something, the deep truth about something. With Venus there can be an emphasis on having things live up to established law or established precedent, or rules and regulations that have been around a long time and help hold civilization together. After all, civilization has been here a long time, and Capricorn does rule time. And so Capricorns are very persevering. It rules administration and it rules bureaucracy. So Capricorns do not like to skip steps, and they are very persevering, and they are a little bit frugal, so they're pretty good at managing money, because Capricorns live a very long time. Many of them live to be 100. You got to have something to live on, so that's why they are so careful. But this is a wonderful time for you to be committed to something and want to conform to something, because the emphasis is in the sign of Capricorn. And unlike the last time we had a new moon in Capricorn, which was a year ago, when there was a grand cross in cardinal signs and Mars was squaring that new moon, now we only have 1 planet in harsh aspect to all those planets in Capricorn, and it is Uranus, which is in Aries. Uranus is at 13 degrees, and Pluto in Capricorn is at 13 degrees. But 5 planets in one sign squaring another planet, those 5 planets win. There's just more of them right now. And so there is the possibility that someone could rebel suddenly, or it can be that we all need to watch out a little bit for a wild card, or for an astounding announcement of some sort, or some sudden event that can bring about sudden change, or even some sort of surprising rebellion right now, because those are all the things that Uranus rules, and Uranus is in the sign of new beginnings, Aries. So there are actually 6 planets in cardinal signs right now. That's the majority of planets in the heavens, because there's only 10 up there. And they are in harsh aspect to each other, but those 5 in Capricorn are real winners right now. And that's why you should be talking about or thinking about your long-term prospects, or your career, or your standing in the public eye and your reputation. And you may be thinking about handing things down from one generation to the next. Capricorn rules antiques, things that grow more valuable over time. They might not have been expensive to start with, but give them 100 years and they can turn out to be very expensive. And Capricorn rules the mountains, and it rules the cold because it's ruled by Saturn. And the good news today is that Saturn has now changed signs for once. In the last 3 years, it is no longer in Scorpio, but it has moved into Sagittarius now, and it is at 0 degrees as well. So it is exactly in perfect alignment with the new moon and the sun in Capricorn. And since Saturn is Capricorn's ruler, that is a uniquely benevolent aspect. It's very unusual. It wouldn't happen too often. And so this is a marvelous new moon. And it points the way to all of us to be very, very practical and methodical, and to think about sort of saving for a rainy day or going a little bit slower and not skipping any steps. The emphasis is so much on that we may be surprised at how many people are going to slow down now, even though there is still a grand trine in fire signs. In fact, now at the end of the year, finally, there's only one retrograde planet, and it is Jupiter in Leo. But Uranus is in Aries now, and it has been retrograde for months, but it is now direct. And so Uranus in Aries is trining Jupiter in Leo, and together they are trining that Saturn in Sagittarius. This changes the emphasis in fire signs a lot. And that is because Saturn is called the taskmaster, and it is a planet of stability. And so this planet of stability and slow going and having to work very hard is now trining a rebellious planet like Uranus, and it's also trining Jupiter in Leo. This is going to give people who usually do sort of zoom ahead and skip steps, it's going to give them a little pause right now, and it's going to allow them time to think about what their serious commitments are, and to maybe take a little bit more time, maybe even years, to make sure that they're highly qualified and can provide for themselves and be set for life. So we all have an awful lot of planning and thinking to do right now. But the good news is that Capricorn rules our the 10th house of career and our standing in the community. It rules things that are earned the hard way. And it also denotes trust and respect. Respect is very important to a Capricorn. And so it rules doing your duty. And since there's so many planets in Capricorn, this is a time when you can really get a few quiet moments to yourself and think about where you're going in your life and who you're taking with you and what you can afford. And your thoughts should bring about some good answers or good results. Remember that Mercury, the planet of the mind, is in Capricorn, but so are Venus and Pluto. And so you would be able to face the truth right now about your career prospects. Maybe you would need a little bit more training. Sagittarius rules colleges, and Saturn is there right now. Maybe you do need to go back to school, or you do need to get some sort of certification, or you do need to improve your qualifications for some sort of advancement. But this is the time to do it, and you really don't have to speed forward quite so much. You just have to make sure that you're on the right path, one that can set you up for security in your life. Capricorns are very security prone. So we may have our minds on very serious things this Christmas holiday, but that's all right because it could affect our loved ones as well. So this is a time to really hunker down and aim high. Remember, Capricorn rules the mountains, but you also have to get to that height, and that is going to take a lot of sustained effort and work and stability in your life. So this is a time when you really need to think very seriously about things if you can, particularly about your career. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, you have Uranus in your sun sign, and the good news is that Uranus has now gone direct, which is wonderful because that means that you could have some really great idea and take off very, very suddenly in order to pursue it. Uranus also rules invention, so you can be quite inventive right now and creative. But somebody is still going to ask you if you're qualified for something, and they're going to check your credentials, and they are going to ask if something is legal right now, because the one drawback to having all of those planets in Capricorn is that they really mean business. And Capricorn stands for things being done in a traditional way and not skipping any steps and being able to work through problems, not skip problems. And so this is a time when someone is probably going to question whether you measure up to some sort of assignment or job position, and if they feel that you don't qualify, then you will not get it, Aries. But that doesn't mean with this grand trine in fire signs that you couldn't go ahead and get more training if you want to. Or if you just decide, heck with that, you're going to go off and do things your own way, then you will be able to move quite suddenly and successfully right now. What you won't be successful at is rebelling against the status quo or against authority figures or against anything that is lawful. You won't win, Aries. And so this is a very good time for you to decide if you're going to take your own road or if you are going to settle down a little bit and comply with the rules and regulations. You may not like doing that since yours is the sign of the pioneer. But the only other thing you can do is quit or escape. And so if you're going to stick around, you're going to have to do something somebody else's way right now. And you may not like that, Aries, so you might have to start over. But that's all right. It's the beginning of the new year soon, so maybe that would be best for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is simply a time when the new moon in Capricorn really benefits you, Taurus, marvelously well, in fact. And the reason why is that, yes, we had a new moon in Capricorn a year ago, but it was very sorely aspected. And so, there were a lot of challenges connected with that one. And there's only one connected with this one, and it's that Uranus in Aries is squaring it. But those 5 planets, including your ruler, Taurus, Venus, are in Capricorn, and they are solidly backed up because Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is right behind all 5 of them at the same degree as the sun and the new moon. And so that simply means that, the long haul really pays off, or sustained efforts really pay off. And you're a very hard worker, Taurus. So there could be some very good news about your retirement. And if you have been contemplating retirement, this is the perfect time to do it, Taurus, because not only would you have your investments pay off, but the retirement money would be there, and it really would allow you to do the things that you love doing. And it means you wouldn't have to work so hard. Taurus likes to work no matter what. So even if you did retire, Taurus, I could see you getting some other endeavor or starting your own business, or you could hook up with somebody else in partnership and keep going, but more on a part-time basis, and that would be wonderful for you. So this is an excellent new moon for you, and it does indicate that in one way or another you could get some news, or even the possibility of a promotion, or a really good news about the value of an investment, and that could help set you up for life. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time, once again, when you still have to be very, very careful to check everything twice and get it in writing and notarized before you decide to sign anything. And the reason why is that Saturn has now moved into Sagittarius, and it is opposing your sun sign, Gemini, and it will stay in Sagittarius for 2 to 3 years. It will leave briefly next summer, but for the remainder of the time, it will actually be opposing your sun sign, and that could affect your health, Sagittarius, or Gemini. And that is because, it could mean that you are a little more susceptible to respiratory ailments, since Gemini rules the lungs and the shoulders. And it also means that it could be a little bit harder for you to do things. There could be roadblocks set up. And one of the roadblocks could be some sort of qualification that you need for your own work. If you don't have that qualification, there is the possibility that your job could be eliminated. And so that is why you have to be real careful, because you're going to run into roadblocks for the next 2 to 3 years with it opposing your sun sign. And Neptune is squaring your sun sign, so you won't actually be able to believe everything people are saying. And so you don't want to fall for any scams or cons right now. Instead, spin, which is what you're good at, is something that could do you in instead, Gemini. And that's why you need to be real careful. Mars is still in Aquarius, trining your sun, and that simply means that, you need to slow down, because someone could really want to press your buttons and get you to work a little bit too hard right now, and you don't want that either. So this new moon may not affect you because it's 150 degrees away from your sun sign, but it's packed with planets, and that really will affect all of us. So you need to look over your career prospects. And if you want to aim higher, you're going to have to work a little harder for it, Gemini, but good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, the new moon in Capricorn on Monday with 5 planets in Capricorn all opposed your sun sign, and the 6th planet that's in a cardinal sign, Uranus in Aries, is squaring your sun sign. That is too much for you to overcome, Cancer. And so this is a time when you still may be set for life, because Saturn has been in Scorpio for the last 3 years, trining your sun, meaning that you could have been very careful about money management, and you could have your financial affairs stabilized right now. It doesn't mean you're rich, but it means that you could probably afford to make a dream come true, which is great. But you need to look out for the wild card right now, Cancer, the unexpected, the amazing announcement, the rebellion. All of that could happen right now, and someone in a corporate or government agency is going to make a decision that may not please you, Cancer, and there is nothing you can do about it. It's concerning a matter that is completely out of your control. So there can be change in your life, Cancer, but I think that you are already financially secure enough, or you know, they say Cancer is the sign of thrift, and that Cancers always have enough for the day and the way, meaning that they tend to save a lot, and Cancer rules recycling. So it doesn't mean that you're broke, Cancer, but it does mean that you can be subject to change, particularly in your career, due to a decision made by an authority figure that is beyond your control. And so you'll have to take that into consideration. And I would go slow right now and not overreact to anything, and watch for that wild card. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, Jupiter is the only retrograde planet in the heavens right now. And so Uranus, which is trining your sun from Aries, is direct and is in trine to your sun, and so is Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn trining your sun is going to have a big effect on you, Leo, and on Aries, and on Sagittarius, of course. And the effect will be one of stabilizing your life in one way or another. And so this new moon, which is extremely well aspected and extremely well backed up right now by its own ruler in Sagittarius, which is trining your sun, is an indication that you can be having very serious thoughts about sort of what you want to do, and you can be planning simple steps to achieve a goal. That goal will require some sort of sacrifice by you, Leo. And that's all right, because we don't get anywhere unless we work for our honors or our respect or our awards. And so, you know, it will require some sort of sacrifice, because Saturn is the planet of sacrifice, but at the same time, it will ensure long-term stability for you. So, okay, if you've got a higher road you want to take and it's going to require more effort, then go ahead and give it a go. Leo, you're very lucky to have Jupiter in your sun sign. Even though it is retrograde, it is being well fortified, and the grand trine from these planets and fire signs will last until summertime. Then Saturn will leave and go back into Scorpio, but when it comes back into Sagittarius by the fall, then it will continue to stabilize you. So it's going to really help you, Leo, but it may slow you down and require sacrifice from you as well. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is an extraordinarily good new moon for you, just as it is for Taurus, because those 5 planets in Capricorn, including your ruler, Mercury, are all trining your sun. And what that means, Virgo, since Capricorn rules the 10th house of the traditional 10th house of career and your reputation in the community, and Venus is there as well, along with Mercury and the sun and the moon, there is an indication that there are accolades and recognition coming your way, Virgo, but there's more than that. It can be that somebody very high up has done some checking about you, has looked at your track record or your work performance, and has seen the way that you react to situations in a calm and thorough and methodical way, and they really like what you're doing, Virgo. And I think this is not just your boss. This could be the top boss somewhere. The person way at the top has been noticing you. And even in your own modest way, if you think nobody ever notices you, that's not true, because you do a wonderful job. So this is a time that is extremely good for your career, and there is going to be some sort of an offer that you should accept, Virgo, because that will help set you up for life. And that's what you need, because you too could live a long time. After all, your sign rules health. And so that is what you pay attention to. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, remember there are 6 planets in cardinal signs under the new moon in Capricorn. The 5 planets in Capricorn, including your ruler, Venus, are all squaring your sun, which means that there can be challenges in the workplace for you, and you wouldn't like them, but still you would have to go along with these challenges, or there can be changes or even budget cuts and constraints, which could affect you, Libra. And also your relationships may not be going along as smoothly as you would like, because Venus, your ruler, is being squared by Uranus in Aries, and those are the 2 love planets. So not everyone is on the same wavelength where love is concerned, and you got to be a little patient with that as well. And then Uranus in Aries, which is now direct, is opposing your sun sign. So when that astounding announcement or that surprise or that something that is very, very unexpected or a rebellion occurs and somebody could sort of suddenly take off in your life, you can just wave goodbye, Libra. I do not think you will miss them. So there can be somebody that has been causing you a lot of stress. If they suddenly rebel because others are questioning the validity of their qualifications and they don't like that and they leave, I think that that could make your life a little bit calmer, actually, Libra. So it's not all bad to have squares and oppositions. Sometimes they can do you a lot of good. So I think you should just remain calm and keep working hard right now, Libra. That is about the only thing you can do. You can't counter anything. And if you're a little disappointed in love, don't worry about it too much, because I think everyone is right now. And we'll get over it. We really will. All right. What does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, for once, there are no planets in your sign. And for the last 3 years, there's at least been Saturn there, but it has now moved out of your sign and into Sagittarius. And so it is backing up the 5 planets in Capricorn, and all 6 of those planets are sextiling your sun, Scorpio. So right ahead of you, there's a lot of good support. There are wonderful people that are very hard workers, that are sticking with their goals and objectives, and you could be asked to join a prominent public organization, or you could be asked to serve on a very prestigious committee, or you could be asked to be promoted into something where you're in control or you're head of something right now. And that will be an indication that a burden has been lifted from your shoulders, Scorpio. If it's a financial burden, it simply means that you're in better financial shape than you used to be, and you have not had the best year. There could have been a sad event that occurred to you this year, or there could have been setbacks when other people could have sort of zoomed ahead, and they shouldn't have because they weren't qualified for that. But things are all going to work out now, right now, and you're headed for something better and higher right now, Scorpio, and that's wonderful. It means you can make a dream come true, and it means you have the backing of very solid people that are in your corner. So don't give up on anything right now, because in 2015, there's going to be doors opening for you, doors that have been shut for the last 3 years, but not anymore. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, Saturn has now entered your sign, but it is stabilizing all 5 planets in Capricorn that are right ahead of your sign. So right ahead of you, you can see a path to go on that can really stabilize your life right now, Sagittarius. And so you really can get into something that is bigger and better for you, and which could eventually set you up for life. So you may be deciding to join a large corporation or a government agency. You may be deciding to settle down and be more committed to your family and to your long-term pension or retirement funds. And all of that is possible because those 5 planets are right ahead of your sun sign, and their ruler is in your sun sign. So you are about to have a very serious 3 years ahead of you, Sagittarius. And for the first half of 2015, you're going to get a lot of support from Uranus in Aries and Jupiter in Leo. So I would make the most of it right now and try to get into something very solid if you can. It's out there. All you have to do is sort of go and apply. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, the new moon is in your sun sign, and this is a great one. It simply means that you're very well thought of. After all, Venus is in your sun sign. And it also can mean that since your own ruler, Saturn, is at 0 degrees, exactly where the sun and the moon are were in your sign on Monday, it simply means that you have got some very strong backup to fall back on. And it could be something related to your family or to a company or even to a place that you used to live. And so there is the possibility that you can decide to make some changes because you realize you can afford them. And it doesn't mean that you're rich. It simply means that you can certainly be thinking of making some sort of advancement or change that sets you up for life. If you wanted to know when that would pay off, and remember, small things do add up, so it doesn't mean that you're making a big change, but you could be doing something in a small way and taking persevering steps, and the payoff could begin to come in as early as 1.5 years from now, when Jupiter finally moves into Virgo and trines your sun. So you really are on the right path, Capricorn. Keep going, even if it's only step by step, because it's going to set you up for life. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is simply a time with Mars in your sign when you can be a little frustrated right now. Not as frustrated as you have been, but still, in other words, maybe there are not as many financial problems. Maybe some of them have been worked out somehow, or tax problems. Maybe you're set now and you can go ahead and work those problems out so that they're not so bothersome. But the fact that Mars is in your sign opposing Jupiter in Leo means that you can be frustrated because good people seem to keep leaving you. And it's because they're activated and they want to move on and they have the energy for that. And so it's no reflection upon you, Aquarius, unless you've been getting mad at people or unless you have been unduly aggressive and argumentative. Maybe they would leave because of that. But also, you need to realize that other people sort of want to take their turn in the spotlight or in the sunshine, and that's why they can be moving on. At the same time, you can be moving on, and you can see a way to do that because those 5 planets in Capricorn were all right behind your sun sign. So that there's an amazing amount of light in the background of your life, Aquarius, and everyone can see anything about you, including things you've been trying to hide. And so if they're asking if you measure up, they will find out one way or another. And your frustration can be worked out if you're just a little bit more patient with yourself and others right now. You may decide to move on, though, because your ruler Uranus is now direct. So you could be starting something new. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is the end of the year, and also this can be a time when there isn't quite as much stability being offered to you as there was, because Saturn was in your Scorpio, trining your sun sign for 3 years, and it is no longer there. But during that time, you could have cleared up some financial matters, and I think that you are on higher ground now financially, or in better shape as far as debts and loans and credit and taxes go. And so I think that this is a marvelous time for you to set yourself up for life, Pisces, and the reason why is that all 5 planets in Capricorn do sextile your sun. And that simply means somebody with a lot of clout, somebody with a good reputation, or an organization that is highly respected and has been around for a long time can be looking very favorably upon you, Pisces, or you can be wanting to join them, and there is an opportunity to do that. So if you're thinking of sort of stepping up right now, Pisces, this is an excellent time to go for it if you want to. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and once again, I wish you Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org, if you subscribe. Bye.